Hey guys, it's Journey to Z. My setup is so funky right now. If I breathe too hard, I might knock the camera over. This video is totally unrelated to hair or anything, but I have to do this because, man, I went through a really hard time with the healing post-delivery. Before the whole time I was pregnant, I would go online and research and look at stuff to prepare myself for birth, delivery, taking care of the baby, all that stuff. And I specifically went to look for how to heal or how to deal with pain management after a vaginal delivery. And I don't know what I found. I didn't like what I found. Like, the information, it was all over the place. Like, I'd get one good thing from one person, then I'd get something else from another person. So I want to share my experience with what I did and what worked for me with dealing with pain down there, because I had an episiotomy and secondary tear. Nothing too bad, but it still hurt like hell. So I'm gonna put my tips in here and I'll show you everything that I use. So if there's a young lady out there that's gonna go through this, and I'm sure she will, hopefully you see this video, and I really hope all this stuff I'm about to tell you will help. So first thing is first, you're gonna need pain medication, okay? Like, immediately after they do give you pain medication, they'll probably put you on Percocets or oxycodone, and they only do that for like the first 24 to 48 hours though, unless you had a C-section. I don't know, they probably give you more stuff then. So they'll give you that. My doctor took me off with a Percocet the first night because I started to hallucinate, and I couldn't really care for the baby who was in the NICU across the room from me. So I told him I didn't like it, so he put me on ibuprofen. So what I did was I took ibuprofen. I took 800, is it milligrams, whatever. I took 800 every 6 hours, and I did that for 2 weeks. I got a prescription for it. You can get it over the counter though. They sell it in 200 milligrams. So you take like 4. When I got home from the hospital immediately, I took like 4 every 8 hours. So you need to do this like clockwork. Set an alarm on your phone and do this clockwork. I realized the first 24 to 48 hours, I was dying. Like, it was really, really, really hard. The pain, there's like a lot of stinging, there's a burning, there's a stabbing feeling. It's really horrible. And I couldn't stand, I couldn't walk, and I was getting really depressed because I'm like, how am I going to take care of my baby and I can't even function and walk across the room? Like, guys, it would literally take me like maybe 5 to 10 minutes to get up to go and use the bathroom. And using the bathroom immediately after delivery is hell, because they give you a catheter which probably bruises your urethra, which is where the pee comes from. And yeah, it feels like someone is stabbing you in the vagina when you urinate. So yeah, there's nothing you can do about that except for drinking water. You want to drink a lot of water because you dilute your urine, and it's good for healing. And if you're breastfeeding, water is just perfect. So it'll dilute the urine, which will make it less acidic, which means that it won't burn as much. So definitely stock up on water. All right, so there's a lot of stinging, burning, so you want to do this religiously. Okay, my second, this should have been number 1, but they will offer you stool softener, Colace. Don't be a badass and think you're not gonna want stool softener. If you refuse this is the worst thing you can do to yourself. Number 1, if you get stitches and you're constipated, yeah, you could probably rip through one of your stitches if your stool is hard. So you need to take this. They're gonna give it to you. Don't refuse it. Matter of fact, they only give you enough while you're there in the hospital. So on your way home, stop at Walgreens and get these. Like, this has been a lifesaver, I promise, guys. My girlfriend, she had a C-section, and she never took the stool softeners, and she was in pain. Even though she didn't have vaginal, she still had issues with having her first bowel movement. So she regretted not taking these. So definitely take the stool softeners. Go out and buy some more. This one is Colace. What is it? 10, 100. What the hell does mg stand for? Is it megagrams, milligrams? Whatever. Mg. All right? Get this. So you got your regular pain management, ibuprofen, or whatever you choose to do. And it's okay to do the ibuprofen if you're breastfeeding. My doctors have cleared me to take this, and I'm breastfeeding. The next thing, which I found very helpful, and I actually went out and bought this after I got home, was the Tux. These are hemorrhoid cooling pads. It's for hemorrhoids, but I don't have hemorrhoids. I had just have the rip and the tear, and this still works wonders. It immediately soothes down there. Like after I pee, and I'll tell you how I pee, because oh my god, that's a whole another process. Just peeing is not just peeing and pulling up your underwear. No, it's like a process now, but I'll explain that. So after I pee and clean, I put 2 of these pads in the underwear and put it up, and immediately it's like a burst of fresh air. So it does offer immediate relief. You gotta get this, Tux. They have a different name for it in the hospital, but it's the same thing. I got this off of eBay for like $5 or $10. All it is witch hazel. So it's just these little witch hazel pads. It's wet and it's cool. It's awesome. But if you do have a vaginal delivery, you can get hemorrhoids too. I think you can get them if you have a C-section too. So this is still perfect for hemorrhoids. Matter of fact, it's made for hemorrhoids. I'm just using it for my vaginal area. Another thing that they gave you, which some people say doesn't work for them, but it worked for me, is this Dermoplast pain reliever. It's a spray. Just spray it down there, and it does provide like a little bit of a relief. It's supposed to numb whatever pain is down there. I still use it every once in a while. It's not as great as the Tux, but still, you know, I stocked up on them, and I took a couple from the hospital. God, this really should be number 1. Honestly, guys, all these things are completely important, and they could all be number 1, because I couldn't have lived without any of them, except for I could have lived without this. But everything I just mentioned before is, you know, really essential. This thing here is life. Okay, this is called a Peri bottle, P-E-R-I. You can get it on eBay in packs of like 3, 4, whatever, for like $2, Amazon, whatever. It's a Peri bottle. It's a little squeeze bottle. You probably can get it at a hair store too. But let me tell you, my baby is 1 month old plus a day. I have not urinated, not once, without this bottle in the last 30 days. So this bottle is my best friend, even now, even more so now. So I'll explain. This is a, what do you call it, perineal, whatever bottle. The perineal area is that area from your ass to your vagina, whatever. So yeah, so let me explain how I pee. So this bottle is what I use when I pee. As I'm urinating, I squeeze the water on there. So to, you know, what that does is it washes away the urine, so it's diluting it and keeping that acid away from whatever cut or bruise you have down there, right? So I'll pee with this, and then I use warm water. I rinse myself with the warm water, and with this again, and then I put the Tux pad, the witch hazel in the underwear on the panty line or whatever, and then you just pull it up. Okay, now let me explain something extra with this. This was only taking away the burn just a little bit. So when I was peeing, I had to kind of like squeeze to control the flow of the urine, because when it came out too hard, it kind of burned. It was just too much pressure down there. But I did some research, because I was still having burning issues even with everything I was doing. You know, we're 4 weeks in with the episiotomy, and I'm still having burning, which caused me to be afraid to pee, and it caused me to not want to drink water, because drinking water makes you pee. But that was kind of counterproductive, because, you know, I kind of needed to drink more water to dilute the urine. But when you have immense pain to do something that you do day to day, it, you know, it just kind of you develop a fear of doing it. So I stopped drinking water, and it just made this whole situation worse. So I did some research, and I realized that I was using this bottle wrong. What I was doing was just spraying, just like trickle spray, just like squeezing all soft and cute. What you have to do is you have to squeeze this bottle as you're urinating, as if, just squeeze it really, really hard to get all of the water out and put a lot of pressure on it. That's what is going to alleviate the burning. The girl that talked about that story, she said she was peeing one day, and she was just like angry or anxious or whatever, so she squeezed down on the bottle real hard, so she realized she didn't burn anymore. So I went and tried it, because remember, I've been burning even when using this, just not as much. So one day I followed her advice, and I squeezed really, really, really hard, and the pressure came out really hard, and no more burning. And it's been 4 days now, and I can pee, no burning whatsoever. So when you use this bottle, you have to squeeze really, really hard, guys. Just squeeze really, really, really hard, okay? This bottle here, this is number 1. Oh my God, this. So another thing you can do to to help the area heal, or just to give yourself a relief, is to use a Sitz bath. I took a new one from the hospital. This is what it looks like. It's just a little tub. You lift up the toilet seat, you put this in there, you fill it with water, and then there's this is optional. I've used this like once. What I do is I fill this up completely, and I like hot water down there, so I just sit in it for about 10 minutes, and I just have my area down there soak. So I soak my vagina in a bucket. Like, I did this twice a day for the first 2 weeks that I was home. And if you want, you don't have to. My doctor told me I didn't have to do this, but I wanted to do the extra mile, and I put like a teaspoon of antiseptic in there just to clean the area. This is Dettol. If you're Jamaican, you know what the hell this is. We use it for everything. You don't have to do that though. You could just use water. But I felt extra clean by using that. So anyway, yeah, with this, you're supposed to fill this with water, hang it up somewhere, and put this little tube in here, and the water drains from here, and it causes like a bubble effect, so it's like you're getting like a spa treatment down there. This is all extra though. I just like the feeling of having the warm water down there. So that's it, guys. That's what I used. Do your medicine, take it religiously every 8 hours. Use your peri bottle after every time you go to the bathroom. And this is not a suggestion. This is really like a strong recommendation. They recommend you do this because it keeps you clean. You don't want to have, you're going to have bacteria down there because the area is just wet with the Tux pads and, you know, urine and whatnot. You really want to wash away the urine and whatever bacteria is down there every time you go. You don't want to get an infection while you're healing. So you have to do this, okay? Drink your water. Take this Colace. I'm telling you, do not skip the Colace. Do that and get you some Tux, man. These are awesome. I'm using them right now. It's freaking awesome. So that's it. I hope that wasn't all over the place. Let's see, what was that, 12 minutes? All right, if you have any questions, you can leave a comment below. I hope this video was helpful to somebody. I wish I would have found it earlier when I needed it. So yeah, peace.